Well, Blake, thanks so much for helping me in my project.
Sure. Happy to.
I was wondering if maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, my name is Blake. I own a home inspection company and a pest control company. And I've been in construction one way or the other for the last 22 years. So I've been doing it a long time.
And
I got 3 kids. Two boys are twins. They're 10. Actually, they're 11 as of yesterday, and a 13-year-old daughter. And then my wife Jennifer, of course.
excellent. And your children, what kind of things are they interested in? Do they like space, technology? Like what's what?
It's like every other kid, they love video games, and that's all they're playing right now. So now they like to go outside. One of them likes, thinks space is pretty cool. The other one doesn't, but I get one out of it.
What's the ages of the one that likes space and the one that doesn't?
Well, they're twins, and they turned 11 yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. So they're polar opposites regardless, but one likes space, one doesn't. So what are you gonna do?
Exactly. Does the one that doesn't like space, what do they like?
Minecraft.
Which one?
Minecraft.
Oh, Minecraft. Oh, building things.
Literally,
Oh, wow.
Minecraft and that. He doesn't like to go outside. He likes computers. So, which is a big frustration for us because we like to have him outside as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish there was like some way to like do computing without the computer, like.
That'd be easier anyway. So no, we've gotten to the point now with the, we're taking computers away just to get them outside because, we're sitting around, that's all we're doing. So we're taking computers away and getting them back outside again. So.
What do you think about like this augmented reality thing? You think that's like a good way to kind of get people out and about that would normally just be on computers, or do you think that kind of like ruins the?
I think it ruins. So you're talking about like the virtual reality where you can go and live your life on a computer, or is that what you mean?
Oh, I was thinking more like the augmented reality, like the Pokemon Go, where you're like trying to.
I misunderstood you. Yeah, that's kind of neat for them to try to do that. They did Pokemon Go a couple of years ago when it first came out, but it's kind of neat to do it. I didn't do it, but I don't have time, but they did. So.
There was this group in Europe, Mars One, that went around and said, who wants to go on a one-way trip to Mars?
Right.
And they said they had all these thousands of people that were like, yeah, send me. I'm like wondering, one-way trip to Mars would be like 6 months in like a small spaceship.
Yep.
And now after this whole COVID-19 thing, I wonder how many of them would be reconsidering their thoughts.
It'd be really cool to go to Mars. I'll tell you that. But I can tell you, I don't think I could do it. I don't mind being alone, but wow, 6 months, by myself. I'm one of those people like, they keep talking about all these people during COVID that, I'm a hugger and a handshaker, and I can't do either right now. It's driving me crazy. And my sister and I, she's a hugger. We were talking the other day, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to hug everybody when this is over."
I know.
Like, I'll be choosy, but I'll still do it. So I don't know if I could do the trip. I'd love to be able to say I did it. I don't see anybody coming back, obviously, but I would love to be able to do it. But I don't think it's going to happen for me. So not that NASA would want a 47-year-old overweight guy, with no NASA skills, if you will. So.
Well, have you heard of Elon Musk?
What about him?
And SpaceX and what he's doing in Boca Chica, Texas?
I guess not. I mean, I know he's doing things. I don't know what he's doing now. I assume he's trying to go to Mars too, just like all the other billionaires out there. So,
well, yeah.
So what's he doing out in Texas?
So in Boca Chica, Texas, which is right next to Brownsville, he's building what he calls a Starship, and basically it's he's making it out of stainless steel. But the big thing is it's 100% reusable. It'd be the most powerful rocket ever built. And he's talking about so reusable that you could fly the same rocket 3 times a day. Just fill it up and go.
Okay.
And he's building a factory down there where he can make 2 a week. That's kind of like the thing. So you start doing that numbers, and now you're like, the amount of people and things you get into space is like, astronomically different than what's ever been done before.
Is he saying how much faster he thinks he'll be able to do it?
He is churning out these prototypes, like one a month right now.
But I mean, trip to Mars, does he actually have how long he thinks it'll take to do it once he does get it able?
I think we're still looking at like 6 months.
6 months.
So no quicker. But there'll be more people going, so maybe it'll be less boring.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you can send multiple ships, and when you get tired of people on one, you go to another one.
Sure.
And you're like, oh, I didn't know you were coming here too. I need
that. Can I get the room next to her?
Yeah, something.
Bed, I guess, next to her. Yeah,
but yeah, so and my inspiration for these interviews is that NASA's planning to go to the moon again in 2024.
Okay.
And I don't think many people know about it, even though it was like mentioned in the State of the Union address, and NASA's been doing a lot of stuff with social media and what have you. Unless you're like into space, I don't think you've heard about it. And I guess that's my first thing is, did you know we were going to the moon in 2024?
I heard that we were going to try to go back. I didn't know it was 2024, but I heard that they were going to try to go back again.
Yeah, one of the things that Jim Bridenstine, the current NASA administrator, talks about is that there's like technical risk and political risk. And he's like, the farther out you push the timeline, the more likely it is to change. And so by making it 2024 to be in whoever's the next president's cycle, so maybe that gives a little bit more, it's easy to change things that happen 10 years away. It's harder to change things that happen 4 years away.
Yeah, true story. True story.
But what do you think about that? You think, waste of money, exciting, good use of resources?
What's the goal?
Well, there's many goals. These big public things have lots of things tied to them. One of them is a very strategic kind of long-term goal. And that is, we've discovered that there's water ice on the poles of the moon. Like there's these craters that are permanently shadowed that are colder than the surface of Pluto, that water has gotten trapped in.
Okay. And
we think, going there and verifying these resources and essentially by our presence laying claim to them could be a big strategic thing, especially as like China and other countries are becoming more aggressive in their space endeavors.
Sure. No, I don't think it's a waste of money. Anytime we can explore, I'm for it. And anytime that we can continue to be ahead of everybody else, I'm for that too. So have at it, do all you can.
There's also some other goals. Learning is one. Asteroids have been hitting the Earth for, if you look up at the night sky, within an hour, you will see an asteroid, a meteor hitting the Earth. And this is happening 24/7 all over the world. Most of them are really small, burn up in the atmosphere, but some of them are quite big. Sure. If you try to look at the Earth at this record, you won't be able to find it because, most of them have burned up in the atmosphere. Most of them have landed in the ocean, and the ones that have landed on land have been weathered away and grown over. Right. But the moon's also been traveling with the Earth, and these same types of things have been hitting the moon, and it doesn't have an atmosphere, and it doesn't have weather. So they're all just laying there on the surface ready for us to explore.
Cool. So they they're not going to find any kind of renewable energy or anything like that, would they? Just the minerals?
Well, have you heard of rare earth metals?
I've heard of it. I haven't studied it.
Yeah, so like selenium and like a whole bunch of stuff used in electronic components. It's only found like in China and I think like Africa, a few places. And they're actually from meteors. So potentially there could be good deposits of these on the moon, so.
You mind somewhere that we haven't seen yet?
Yeah.
Very cool.
So how much do you think it'd cost for us to go back to the moon if you had to put a figure on it?
Oh God. How much did it cost the last time we went?
I'm not really sure.
I don't know, a couple $100 million probably, if not more. A couple billion.
Million or billion?
I would say $1 billion. I'm probably way off, but I have no reference.
Yeah. But I know, I think they're planning to spend something like 5 to 7 billion over the course of 5 years. So I guess that would make it like $35 billion.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was way off. Okay.
I mean, approximately. And
Yeah.
that and that was the bid price. Wait until you see what. Wait
35.
until you see.
I don't know. I mean, if it can get us ahead in something, I'm all for it. A little concerned about what's happening on our planet right now, as far as, do we need to spend billions and billions on that, especially today? If you asked me 2 months ago before this happened, I probably said go for it. Wouldn't even think about it. But now we got billions of people to feed and get their businesses back up and running. So I might think a little bit differently at this point. I don't know. I guess I'd have to see a pretty good reason as to why we can't help people in the U.S. get their lives back in order after all this. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like I said, 2 months ago, I wouldn't even thought about it. But now I'm kind of like, well, maybe we should make sure everybody's taken care of before we send a guy up there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess in terms of getting life back to normal here, what do you think that looks like?
I don't know. I think it's going to be strange throughout the summer. I think people are going to be, a little less apt to be touchy, shake hands, to not really meet, but to have people over, to get closer. I think it's going to take, people that do have short memories, kind of like, being a home inspector, nobody asks about Hurricane Harvey and flooding anymore. And that was only 2 years ago, well, 2.5 years ago. So people have short memories, but, I don't think we're going to be starting to get back to normal until school starts in the fall. Simply because summer's different. Kids are out already, so it's going to change up the summer. People aren't going to be doing vacations. I suspect a lot of people will be going at the end, or beginning to middle August, and then school starts. So I think that's normalcy will start to return. My guess, back sometime in the fall. Get back to normal with kids back in school again.
And do you see any like good coming out of this situation?
I think it's fantastic that we are now I had no idea China controlled 80% of the pharmaceuticals coming into our country. I don't know if that's an accurate number, but that's the number I heard, and if anything good comes out of this, I hope it's that we take back what we need for our country from China and whomever else, and make sure we have enough to sustain our country during a pandemic or a problem like we're seeing right now. Yeah, I don't mind shuffling some of it out, but I don't want to give it all out. I don't want anybody in this country to say, well, China bulk kept the, whatever drug we need to help, and they're not giving it up. So I don't think that should ever happen again. So I think that's one good thing that can come out of it, but again, short memories. People are going to forget.
I know. The moment blood pressure pills go up by 10%, everybody's like, no, getting it from China. That's
Right?
good.
Yeah. I don't know. I would be ecstatic if we had a made in and buy from an American. If we had a huge thing with the whole country rallying behind it, that would make my day. Because I don't mind paying a little bit more if it's made in the USA, and I currently do that now. If I can get them in Cyprus, somebody makes something in Cyprus, and I can buy it and pay a little bit more, I'm okay with that. I'd rather help people around me, friends, family, neighbors, versus friends and family of somebody in China. So if I have to pay a little bit more, I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't want to get, raked over the coals, but if I have to pay a little bit more to help out my country, then absolutely, let's do it. But I think somebody should start a Buy in America kind of deal, yesterday. I'd love it if Trump came out today and said, hey, we're going to start a new Buy in America thing, and somebody got it rolling. I think that'd be fantastic.
And, with like automation and robotics and everything, I mean, labor should not be the primary difference between manufacturing one place versus another.
No,
I mean,
it shouldn't, and it's not. I think it's all the red tape that has to be gone through just to get there, get to the production process. You have to go, in the U.S. anyway, you have to go through so many steps, and what, 8 out of 10 aren't necessary. I mean, just look what they've done with the drugs they're doing. I mean, if you consider the fact that they said, okay, we're going to cut this red tape here, and we're going to cut it here, and now we've got less than 3 months in, we've got human testing, and that usually takes a year. So it just shows how much red tape we truly have in this country. And I think that cutting that out a little bit will be helpful.
And my last question is, if it was safe and affordable, would you have an interest in like going to space, like a, vacation orbit and getting to float and see the Earth or something like that?
Yeah, today, come get me. I'll go right now. I would absolutely love that. That'd be pretty cool. I'd love to see Earth from way up there.
How safe would it have to be?
Well, I don't know. I mean, my kids are only 11 and 13, so I got to see them through college. Then I don't really care. I don't know. I'd say at least, I don't know. We putting like percentage. I don't know, 75% to 80. I guess I'm a risk.
Or maybe how many people would have to successfully go first before you felt comfortable? Like 100, 1,000, 10,000, 1,000,000?
I don't know, maybe 100.
100? Okay, cool.
If what's his name? The guy you asked me about earlier.
Elon Musk.
Musk got a big old check written for my family in the event that I didn't make it back. I'll go sooner than later. Make sure they're taken care of, and I'll go. No problem.
Hey, talking about big old check, Wimbledon, they actually had pandemic insurance.
Really?
Yeah, they were paying like $2 million a year since the SARS outbreak. And I think the payout was something like $140 million.
No way.
Yeah.
All they got to do is bump it a couple of months. That's fine. They still get the money?
I mean, I don't think they're going to have it this year, but.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. That was smart on somebody's part.
I know. Could you imagine, though, they had just canceled it last year or something like that? They'd have been like,
right.
whoa.
Yeah. It's funny. These little insurance policies you buy, even when you're like, I don't really need it, but I'm going to get it. Like, everybody says you don't need flood insurance, for $200, $300, you're covered. Well, my brother has a 24 feet of water in Harvey, and he had that little flood waiver, and he was covered, so he was good.
That's awesome.
So somebody over at Wimbledon was thinking, right?
Well, Blake, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Good luck with your project.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.